Mhm.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unleash Her. Hey, I'm Roberta, and I am your host for the podcast. And I'm so glad that you guys are here. And I'm so excited to introduce you to a friend of mine, Mr. Cornell Bunting. Hi, Cornell. How are you?
I am doing great. This is beautiful. Listen, the weather is great out here. I'm doing great. Just
Awesome. Hey, you should see I'm looking at a lot of snow out of the window here. You're
oh
missing
no,
it.
no. We're looking at palm trees and sunny.
Well, that I would prefer that.
There you
But for
go.
now, I just have to be here. But
Yes, this is good.
yeah,
Sometimes the snow is good, but
yeah.
right now we like the sun better.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree.
This is
So,
good.
listen, hey, thank you for jumping on here with me today. And
Hmm.
I would love for everyone to get to know you a little bit better.
Yes.
So, could you just, share about yourself, whatever you feel like sharing? I know you have a story,
Oh, big story. It's
big
a big
story.
story.
This
It's
is
a big.
huge.
It is huge. So
Yeah.
we'll give your listeners a synopsis as best as we can. Yes,
Yes, absolutely.
because my story. I don't know if you can fit it in the hour that we have or the couple minutes we have, but I was born in Jamaica uh, to a family that got into real estate. People wasn't even talking about it like that back in that time. But my family, they're carpenters, and they're like my dad is electrician, but he went into the corporate world, and so he was a cop. And then he came to America, and we got an opportunity to have things that a lot of the other kids in our neighborhood never had. And so at a young age, that allowed me to become this. I don't know if I would use entrepreneur, but I had a mindset that I wanted to help others, but at a cost. They would have to pay. So the first thing that happened, when I was young, we had people would peep through little parts of the house just to watch our TV because we were the only one that had a color TV. And so I told my dad, I said, I think we should put up a shed and have these people come in, and I'll charge them 5 cents to watch the TV. Because, this is back in the early 80s. I was a kid too. My dad was looking at me like, who are you? But it was beautiful, and then, of course, we had the satellite dish. And then we start doing a lot of VCR, the VHS cassettes. And I said we were renting them. So we were renting them for 10 cents. So I had my little backpack, had my little bicycle, and I would ride to different houses, bring cassettes over. This time, Clint Eastwood was like big deal. Wayne, I can't even think of what there's one cowboy. But cowboy movies was big thing. Cowboy and karate movies, like the Bruce Lee and so it was a thing, and I was like that kid that everyone like they respect my business. They respect my business, and the kids that went to my school, they respect my business as well. I had a BMX bicycle, and every kid wanted a ride, and I said, you can get a ride, but it's gonna cost you 20 cents. And at the time, they were like, that's a lot because that's really what you get for lunch money, 20 cents. I'm like, well, are you guys gonna have to sacrifice one of the days? It's just what it is. The bicycle only go to school on a Friday, so it was one of those things. So I was that kid. I was that kid from an early age, just about the paper, and so did a lot of that stuff, and then um, in high school, I got into track, then I got into soccer, and then there was this girl that I really like her, and I said, you know what, I want to become her friend. Well, boyfriend.
Mm.
One of those things. She's like, you're gonna have to join the drama. class if you want to hang out with me. And so with that, I joined drama, and the teacher in drama took a liking to me, and gave me some opportunities to write some plays. She liked the way I think of stuff and how I could just put a story together just off the top. And I start writing some plays for the school. And then one time they chose this one piece that I wrote that was really cool. And we entered this huge competition, and that piece came third. While I was doing all that writing, I had became like the lead actor as well for the team. So it was pretty good. So in that time, because of how fascinated I was with English literature, like the old Mark Twain stuff, um, like the Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn type of story, stuff like that. Um, I got into that a little bit, and I was like, you know what, at some point, I wouldn't mind messing with this a little bit, and then I had discovered this poem that was, done by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who was like a 19th century poet. And I was so fascinated with the way he put his words, like the way he put his words gave me like an assignment to like, yo, you need to go figure out what he's really saying in these words. And he was doing it like, when people talk about the New Testament and how Jesus talked to people in parables, like you really got to be paying attention to really understand what he's trying to say to you. And for me, it was like, okay, I need to figure out what these messages are in these different pieces. And I did. And so after that, I was doing some writing, but I didn't pursue it. I didn't pursue it out of high school. I became this teacher for Caribbean history. I'm like, and I don't know, I didn't like it because, I felt like the kids weren't necessarily listening to me, all of them. Like, and it was one day we had they had an exam, and I think half of the class passed, and I was upset. 'Cause I was like, help me understand what happened to the other half of the class. And mind you, I'm 17 years old, going on 18. I was the youngest teacher they had hired. And I said, you know what? This is definitely not for me because you guys are gonna irritate me, and you won't make me feel like I'm talking to you guys, and none of you guys are listening to what I'm saying. So I said, you know what? I don't want to do teaching no more. So I got into hospitality, and I became a bellman at Crown Plaza, and that's really how my wild journey started.
Ooh,
It was.
okay. Okay. I like this so far. I love this. And I love that because you've always been your
Hmm.
authentic self.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, you have to be, because one of the things I've learned from a young age, and because I've seen this happen to people, I think because I've paid attention to so many people over the years, and people that have said one thing but they're not really that person, and then they gotta really work hard to maintain whatever that is that they have sold themselves on. And then there's come a time when they can't sell themselves no more in it, and then they call out, and you're like, oh man, that was fake. Like you look back on, like, even like the Nilly Vanilli guys, people was excited about them dudes. And then we were like, they didn't write the songs. They weren't even the ones singing. What? That was terrible. So, it was one of those things where for me, I always wanted to be me. And, Cornell, Cornell. You don't know no one else. Of course, there's, personalities here and there. Because one of the things I've learned over the years is how to adjust to the different individuals that I'm around, like with what that look like. And so, I could be in a hostile environment and make the adjustments,
Yeah.
to be able to maintain my composure in this time until I don't need to be there no more.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things. But the Bellman world had introduced me to so much money that it was so beautiful that I came to America because the resort had sold, and coming to America, I wanted it all. I wanted to become a citizen. I wanted to open my own business. I wanted to do all of that stuff. And I did. I did. It took me about, from I came to America, it took me 11 years to become a citizen. And right after I became a citizen, I'd already have saved up so much money. I was able to open my own security company, and it took off. It literally took off. It was not, I don't want to say an instant success, but I've from the time I opened my security company, it took me 3 months to get my first big gig. I got my first big gig, and then from there, from how they saw my guys that I had hired was performing, other people wanted my service, and so it just took off, and that was going well. I was because I when I started that I was 32, and it was one of those things where I felt like my competitors didn't like, you know I don't ever want to throw the race card out there and said because I was black or whatever, but a lot of that came into play later, um, because my company got undermined, and I got arrested. I went to jail for 10 months, facing 32 years to life in prison on accusations. Like I was accused of paying this guy money to go kidnap someone, and then from that they mirrored the 8 counts of soliciting and say, okay, here's another 8 counts of conspiracy. And so I had 16 felony charges just sitting on my name, and I had to go to confinement. I was in maximum security for that time, and I tell you, in that time, there was a lot going on. I had to, because of how the media had tarnished my name and presented me, it worked. It worked in my favor. It worked in my favor because all the guys in jails look at is the news.
Hmm.
And so when they saw all the stuff about me, when I got there, they had already had some type of feel like, what, this is a dangerous man. Let's not mess with him. And so that worked in my favor. So I
Gotcha.
didn't get in any altercations. And I didn't talk much because I was really upset. At the time I was losing a lot of money. I remember there was like in a month and a half span, I had lost $180,000. I'm like, how am I losing money and I'm in jail? And
Mm,
I was really upset. And, I had to hire an attorney, I had to pay him all this money to represent me. And then, over a course of 3 years, the duration of, what that looked like was kind of how a lot of it unfold. And it was just one of those things where I had to try to endure what that was looking like, so that was
yeah.
really rough.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But it sounds like everything that you had been through had sort of not prepared you, but put you in a better place than maybe what someone else would have been. I mean, you had to go, you have to have some kind of support system around you.
Hmm.
Did you have like a good support system, a good team, good friends, family?
When I was in jail.
Just okay. Well, okay, wait. Starting
So
starting
I have a
even
good I
go
have a
ahead, go
good
ahead.
support. I have a good support team around me now,
Okay.
because of a lot of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I had one person that was really there for me when I was in jail. Everyone else was scared, so everyone else got away. So I lost over 500 grand, just the whole situation. But in that time with the one person that was there for me, I was able to get them power attorney and was able to, save a few things and, got to hang in there and fight with the system. It costs to fight with the system. And, we got there and it worked out. It worked out. We went to trial. My attorney did what I told him he needed to do. Like, we had to be strategic on how the questions were presented, and it put my accuser in a venting space where he felt like he wanted to vent. He wanted to lash out on how he felt about me. I wanted that. I wanted to hear that, and so he didn't like that I was black. He didn't like that I was young and was getting so successful. He didn't like the locations that I was putting him. He wanted to be in a location where he had more fun, tasing people, stuff like this, That was the guy. And so, he vented about a lot of that stuff. And then right in the midst of him venting, my attorney asked him how much they paid him. And he said how much they paid him. So it was beautiful the way it
Wow.
worked out, like, because that's how the case, got dismantled.
Oh my goodness. So it's a lot. This is a
Oh
lot,
yeah, yeah.
everybody,
Oh
for
yeah, yeah.
everybody to take in.
Oh yeah.
And you you took that though, and you took it for the good. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
here in my hand, I have
Ooh,
this,
there you go.
I have a book
Oh
that
yeah.
you
Yeah.
wrote,
Yes.
Escaping the Darkness.
Yes. 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 That, I gotta tell you, man, that book right there. So that's the part two of escaping a life sentence. And I didn't wanna, put out part two with going too deep into a lot of what had happened when I was in jail. I wanted to also make it something that, people can learn, like,
Mm,
see how I use my adversity to find purpose. And so, what, instead of doing, all chapters, I wanted to do, the part one where the chapters, talked about me in the dark place that I was, and what will that look like for me to escape that? And then the part two of the book would talk about 10 ways on how I use adversity to find purpose. So, that book is an amazing self-help book published by O'Leary, who you were
mm.
a part of as well.
Yes,
It's a,
absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing. So, and a lot of people have, that have read that book. I've had a lady came and cried to me, talk about her daughter that was thinking about, suicide. And, she had came to one of my book signing and she didn't have no money for the book. And she just asked me if she could get a book. She didn't have the money. And I said, fine. I signed the book for her and everything was good. Her daughter used that book and now her daughter is a nurse. You know,
Wow. Oh my
her
goodness.
daughter have took all the different pieces that was put in that book and put it to work. And for me, that is like huge. I don't know about a lot of the other success stories from that book, but that one I know. And because that lady came and she cried to me because she said, you saved my daughter. You put my daughter in a headspace to now understand she has a purpose and she's walking in her purpose. She feels good about herself, and so it's a beautiful thing. Well, I mean, by that time you'd be like, you know what, my work with this book is done, yeah?
That's what I was thinking. Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing better than
Hmm.
that right
Hmm.
there.
And I gotta tell you, because I love how you plug in this book, but I remember I have a friend that has PTSD, so talking about book, I got to shout out your book because I remember after I was done reading you guys' book, I gave it to this guy that was, he was in the army, but he was going through some stuff. And after he read you guys' book, he just start living very different. He's like, I feel like it's okay. Like, for me, I don't have it that bad, like he look at things are very, very different, and you know, he admire you and your daughter. And so it was one of those things where I'm like, man, all you can do for them, bro, is just, you know, now live better, you know, live your truth, and don't let, you know, all these different things you're going through define you, you know, and make, and, you know, get the best of you. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for
You're,
sharing that with them
oh, definitely.
and for sharing that with us today.
Oh,
We really
definitely.
appreciate it. Yeah, that
Definitely.
makes us feel so good that we're able to help others. That's
Of
what life's
course.
about.
That's it. That's it. You know, it's, you know, I tell people, you know, sometimes you don't want to go through certain adversities, you know, you don't, you know, certain things we hope not happen to people, but sometime when it happens and you are bold enough to share, you don't know who all you're helping, you know, because there's a lot of people that go through stuff that don't have the courage to, you know, step out there and be vulnerable, you know?
Right? That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So,
That's absolutely true.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. Well, you have not just one book, but
Oh,
you
it's a lot
have
of books.
how many books now?
So I've written, so I write currently I'm at 58 books. But I have 9 books that are out. 9 books that are out. The latest book, Corn Legos, The Journeyman, got picked up by Pingwing. So every now and then they have someone from the team post on my page. So in a little bit, you know, I think that book is going to be going wild because the plot is crazy. And you know, I had someone call me and they said, you know, man, I read your self-help book and I really love it. But now I'm reading this novel, brother, and I'm like, yo, you got a beautiful mind. And I'm like, you know, I appreciate that. So, you know, I've never wanted to be a boxed in author. You know, I remember when I had my literary agent, they wanted me to stick to one type of writing. And I was like, you know, I'm not doing this, you know, to get rich. And, you know, of course that will come, but
Mhm.
you know, I want to share my writing skills. You know, I want to share stories. You know, so I don't want to be boxed into just one type of story, and then there's someone that could read another story. There could be a kid that read one of my kids' stories, and you know, and function differently. You know, so
Absolutely.
it was one of them things. So there's quite a bit that's happening. You know, so you know, as we're talking about that, and I touch on that, you know, because Nostril Adventure had went #1 in Australia, and that book now we're probably 3 weeks away from the video game from that book out.
Video game.
Yeah, and just so you know, there is an artist. There's a Cincinnati artist
Yeah.
that's on the billboard named Paige, on a billboard in the streets of Italy in that game. So, hey, I cannot wait for the mass to get an opportunity to play that game. And I know your listeners are listening, and it's like, doesn't she have a daughter named Paige? Oh, yeah, yeah, guys. I'm talking about her daughter. Her daughter is in the video game.
I am so excited. We are so grateful for
Listen.
you and for thinking of her.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. She's a rock star, you know. She's a rock star, and you know when she sent me a bunch of images to choose from, and I send it to the developing team, and the one they pick, it said it's the most fitting for the billboard and where we putting it in the streets. You know, when you run through the streets and you know playing the game, and it looks so cool. I was like, yo, you pop the corner and it just comes out, and you're like, oh. We got some fun stuff going on over
You're
here, you know?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now wait, what's the name of this video game again?
So when people go to the app store, they punch in Cheese Chase. It's not out. So it's in the app store, but it's still in the test mode. So
Mhm.
they can't see it yet.
Okay.
We you know going through the bugs, working out the bugs right now. But I would say in maybe the next 2 to 3 weeks, it
Well,
will start being available in the App Store.
we'll see. Now, here's the thing. This won't air for another month or so,
Oh, there you
probably.
go. Oh,
So
beautiful.
this timing will be perfect.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, they'll be in the App Store. It's called Cheese Chase by Natural Adventure, and yeah, they've it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. I to say the least, it's gonna be wild because it, there's so much potential, from that game, and then that game will be opening doors for all my other games to come out, and with all that I'm doing with the youth between here in Southwest Florida and Jamaica, I'm serving over 1,800 kids. And so there's quite a bit. And I know that, we've been talking, and I know your listeners are just hearing the stuff just thrown at them. Like, they're like, yo, so what? He has a nonprofit? Yeah, guys, I do. I have a nonprofit that caters to youths in underserved community. It's a 501c3 organization. And what that does, it helps to create self-reliance and a growth mindset for disadvantaged youth. So, not just, the little that we make from the books that we've put out already, but we put those to work, and we give back. I give back to the kids from where I'm from in Jamaica. I give back to the kids that I'm around here, because it's one of the things I learned when I was in jail. Let me not say learn. It was more of an observation, and then I realized that I needed to play my part. It was a lot of young guys were coming in, and they were lacking in so many areas that I figured, I'm like, why are these guys lacking in these areas? And then it just clicked that they don't teach a lot of this stuff in school. They don't teach integrity. They don't teach critical thinking. They don't teach financial literacy. They don't teach a lot of these different things in school. And so for me, it was really important that, what, once, the all this chaos that I have going on, once the coast is clear, once a book start making some noise and I see some type of money coming from that book, I'm going to use some of that money to, open this organization and, help as much of these youths as possible. And so now, we helping a lot of youths stay off the streets and, making bad decisions to whether that's becoming a drug dealer or becoming a scammer. We trying to prevent a lot of these youths from making those terrible decisions.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. That's incredible. You've
oh,
done so many things for the youth.
hmm,
I see you. I see you out there.
yeah, yeah. It's a lot
It's
happening.
pretty amazing. A lot
Yeah.
happening.
It is a lot happening. And I mean, we kind of really just grace the some of what's going on. We haven't even touched on a mess of stuff that's going on. But for the stuff that have taken precedence, those are some of the stuff that have taken precedence as going to be doing major stuff in the coming year. And again, because this is the year of self. We trying to go into room as the important person, but we letting everyone know that is in that room. I'm not more important than you in this room. You have to look at yourself as the most important person in that room. So, I'm just here to, teach something, and whether you take what you take from it or what you take from it, determines how beneficial I was to you, and you know, pull in whatever value that was put to share with you.
Yeah. So do you have like a mentorship program or anything that you do?
Hmm.
Life coaching, mentoring, whatever,
Yeah,
like
so
a paid program.
right. So we do have a program, but because we were helping so many kids, we didn't really put it out there to the public because I had already have so many that I'm working with. I was already overwhelmed. So now my agent is like, now you should put it out there where people that want to um hire you can pay a certain amount. And so
Mhm.
we've now decided, what, because we're training more people to do what I do with a lot of the youths that I work with, because I have a lot of youths that I work with. And so originally, so my rate that I go to speak is like 4 grand.
Mhm.
But then this last big gig in Minnesota, they tripled my rate. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I could charge more, And so with this book, I know it's at the somewhere low on the list right now for a New York Times bestseller, but the minute I hit a New York Times bestseller, my rate is probably gonna go to about 15 grand.
Mhm.
Um, but right now, people can take advantage of, reaching out and paying a fee of $1,000
Mhm.
to get to the next level of where they need to get to, and it's sometimes it's the words that we use to just kind of, turn that switch,
Mhm. Right?
for
Exactly.
someone to see, this
Yeah.
is where you need to be and this is the purpose you need to be walking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you need to raise your prices if you're asking me. I'm sure not everybody might not agree with me, but I know that what you've done takes a certain mindset,
Oh,
and
definitely.
people want to know how you did it. And
Yes,
the only
yes.
way to do that is to guide them in their
Yes.
journeys, and that
Right.
is that's something that we do charge for. That is a program,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's
Yes.
not free. It's not free. We
Right.
don't. One of the things. This is why I don't drop a lot of gems so much no more. I used to go into these big rooms, and we would have all these guys in the rooms, and they would try to pull from me all these different ideas. And one of the guy, and I hope he hears this show and feel terrible about himself after he hears the show, but he was listening to a lot of what I was saying, and he took it and he ran, and with some of what I'm doing already, I just needed someone to get on it and say, you know what, let me work in this area. This person went and did their own thing, started a whole thing for themselves, which
Mhm.
is fine, I get it,
Mhm.
but it's, when you take from someone else exactly how that person presented to you, then you can't come and talk to that person like you was creative. You was not creative.
Mhm.
So, I get it if you would pay me and said, hey, I'm gonna take this, man. Or just even look at me and say, you know what? I'm taking your idea. Hope
Mhm.
you okay with that. And if I say, hey, I'm fine with that, go with it. But if I already have a version out,
Mhm.
then you take it and then so. But we have individuals like that. What they say, dog eat dog world or whatever it is.
Right. And the thing is too is that when you do something like that, you typically don't end up as successful because you didn't
Right.
do it the right way anyway.
Didn't do it the right way anyway. So, and then because that very person called me about financial advice. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, that's what I always tell people. I'm like, just leave it to the law of karma. We don't
oh
need to
yeah.
wish anything bad. They'll
Oh,
people,
definitely. Oh,
it
definitely.
just
Definitely.
yeah, what comes around goes around. But
That's how I
and that's how it
function.
is. Yeah,
That's how
so
I
do the right
function. So
thing. We just do the
it's a
right thing.
beautiful thing. This is beautiful.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. So you've done oh, you have accomplished more in your life than what some people could only dream of. And, you know, oh, we lost him. Okay, guys, he's going to hop back on here. Cornell was on his cell phone on his Wi-Fi and he had to hop off. So I apologize for that. And he's pretty amazing though. And I've been so impressed after meeting him a few years ago. And he was so supportive for my daughter when we were at this booked Naples event with our publisher, O'Leary Publishing, that he, started just listening to her music and supporting her. And now he says she's going to be in a video game. Like, this is crazy, you guys. So I just want to say we don't know what tomorrow can bring because anything is possible. Anything is possible. And Cornell, I know you had to hop off of here, but I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with the world. And we all have a story, okay? But we need to be at a good place and to heal from the past to be able to share that story with others. And as I was talking earlier today, to come from a place of a victorious mindset, not a victim. Because when you're coming from that victim mindset, then you're not able to help others. And so that is my thing for today. Cornell is amazing. Please reach out to him. He is helping so many people and has helped the youth. And he is has such a wide range of entrepreneurship and everything that he's doing for this world. And I think he's a great example. So thank you again, Cornell. And thank you, everyone, for being here today. Listen, this is a heart-to-heart moment here. Whether it's a new year or whether it's a time that you need to say to yourself, it's time for some changes. But if life isn't going the way that you want it to, you are the only one that has the ability to change that. And find someone to help you. There are life coaches like myself that have done the work. I've done the work. And I will be doing it the rest of my life because there's so much more growth for me to do. I have so much more to learn. I'm just beginning. And for someone who did not even go to college, that, I am now a best-selling author and have co-authored another book and have so many things coming to you that I know whatever you want, you can have. And I'm proud of you and I believe in you. And I want you to know that. So do not stop. Keep going. Know your worth because you're worth it. And God made you perfect. Just the way you are. Just the way you are right now. So listen, just like my grandma used to say, instead of saying goodbye, we're going to all see you later. Take care.